The next value chain activity we're going to cover is the engage value chain activity. The purpose of the engage value chain activity is to provide a good understanding of the stakeholder needs, to ensure continual engagement with all of the stakeholders is occurring, and to promote good transparency and good relationships with all of our stakeholders. Really, when we talk about engage, think about going out and talking to other people. That's what we're really doing at the heart of this engage process. This is going to be going out to our stakeholders both internally and externally to our organization. So when I think about the different inputs to the engage activity here, I'm thinking about the product and service portfolio that I'm going to get from plans. When I get the product and service portfolio, I then can think about who do I need to start engaging with? Who needs to know about this new roadmap? Who needs to know that there's a new product coming online? Who needs to know what they can provide into that service or that part of that service portfolio? That's the whole idea there, is communicating that inward and outward across the organization and out to your partners. Also, we're going to be looking for inputs for high level of demand for services and products. This is something we're going to see usually from our customers. And so as part of Engage, we're going to listen to our customers and what they want. For example, if I have 100 students who reach out to me and tell me, hey Jason, I want you to start offering X certification product, we might start listening to that and go build that certification and put that into our plans and move that throughout our whole life cycle, right? It all depends on what the demand is for our services and our products, and we listen to our customers on that. One of the reasons why we offer the Prince2 certification is because a lot of my EIDL students had said, hey, I want to get a project management certification. Will you offer Prince2? And so we went out because we had a large enough demand and we did that. Another input is the request and feedback you get from your customers. As you go through this course, we ask for reviews and feedback from you. If you tell us that you don't like it because Jason talks too long in his examples, then next time we build a course, we'll use less examples. We've gotten a lot of that type of feedback over the years of things we can change and make better, and we implement that each and every time. You want to do the same thing with your IT services. You're always wanting to get feedback from your customers, and then using that feedback, you can make a better product. Next, we also want to think about the incidents, the service requests, and feedback from your end users. This may be different from your customers, right? In my case, my customers are my users. But if we look at this from a large IT stance, I might have a customer who buys a service for hundreds of users underneath them. In that case, I need to think about the feedback differently from the customer level and from the user level. When you take all that input in, it helps you in your engagement to figure out what you're doing right, and then you can pass that information over to the improve process so they can then work it into improvement plans. Also, another input we have is information on the completion of user support tasks from delivery and support. One of the big things that your Engage is going to be working closely with is delivery and support. Because in delivery and support, that's where your service desk comes into play. That's where your operations comes into play. That's where you're going to be reaching out and touching your end users and getting their feedback directly. So being able to look at that and feeding that information back through deliver and support into the Engage process and from Engage out to the other parts of the service value chain is really important. Next, we also want to consider an input of our market opportunities. As we look at the market and we see what the demand looks like and the opportunities, we can then figure out what our current and potential customers and users might want. And based on that and seeing that and engaging with the marketplace, we can determine and feed that back into plans to put it into the overall strategy for the company. Another input is making sure we have cooperation opportunities and feedback being provided by not just our customers and our users, but also from our partners and our suppliers. For example, we rely on AWS or Amazon Web Services to host our website currently. We want to make sure we have a good partnership with them, or at least a good supplier relationship, where we can talk to them and figure out what other services do you offer that might be able to help us? What type of opportunities exist? And understanding those opportunities for cooperation and feedback from our partners and suppliers can help us to better supply a service to our end user. Another input we have is our contracts and our agreement requirements. As we look at all of those from across the entire value chain, we also are going to be doing all of the engagement. Anytime we're talking about contracts and agreements, you can be assured we're talking about the Engage activity because we're reaching outside of our organization to make that contract happen. Another thing we're going to get as an input to our Engage activity is the knowledge and information about new and changed products and services, both from design and transition and obtain and build. You'll notice some of these things have happened in multiple different activities. Why? Because this is a coordinated and interlinked effort. Next, we have our knowledge and information about our third-party service components from suppliers and partners. Just like we did before, we have that again here inside the Engage activity. We also want to make sure we're getting product and service information from across the lifecycle and from the deliver and support team. As they feed that into us, we can then coordinate it and push it out across all of the different pieces and the different activities in our service value chain. Next, we also have our improvement initiatives and plans. We're going to get those from Improve, and as the engagement folks, what are we going to do with those? Well, we're going to tell people about them. Hey students, we're improving the course and releasing a new course on X day. We get that from the plans, and then we pass it out to our customers, our users, and our consumers. And finally, we also want to get improvement status reports from Improve. And then again, we can share that information out as part of Engage. When I think about Engage, I always like to think about telling people something. I'm communicating with somebody, right? So what are some of the outputs we have when we talk about Engage? Well, we have consolidated demands and opportunities. As we collected all that information from the marketplace and our customers, we're now going to turn around, consolidate it, and pass it over to plans so they can put that into our overarching plans. We're also going to look at our product and service requirements that we got, and we're going to give those to design and transition so they can build better services. We're also going to take the user support tasks and requirements and give those over to delivery and support so they can actually provide the end users what they need. So if you as a student come to the Engage part of our company and say, I need more study guides, then we can then pass that over to design and transition, who can design it. Then we can give it to obtain and build, who will build it. And then we give it to deliver and support, who will deliver it to you as a student. And it works that way where these processes are interrelated. We're also going to have an output of improvement opportunities and stakeholder feedback. As we collect all of that, because we're the ones interacting with all of those external organizations, we're going to take that and pass it over to the Improve process or activity so they can work with it. We're also going to get things like change or project initiative requests, and we're going to get all of those, consolidate them, and pass them over to the Obtain Build. Again, we're dealing with contracts, right? And agreements. And if we get those contracts and agreements from the external and internal suppliers, we're then going to pass those over to Obtain and Build and Design and Transition so that they can get the services and products that those contracts rely upon. We're also going to be looking at the output of knowledge and information about our third-party service components because we collected all that information, but we as Engage aren't going to do much with it. Instead, we want to pass it to the plans folks, the design folks, the transition folks, the obtain and build folks, the deliver and support folks. All of them need this information, and we're the people who collect it, so we're responsible for passing it back out. And finally, one of the things we collected was service performance reports, right? We got all of that information from all of the different parts of the service, and now we want to communicate that back out to our customers. Hey, our availability is 99.999% as measured by X, Y, and Z. Let me give that report to the customers so they know what they're getting. That's the idea in Engage. Engage is the glue that makes all of this service work. It's all of the communication that occurs. Things come in, things get processed, and things get pushed out to and from all of the different activities, processes, customers, stakeholders, consumers, and suppliers and partners. All of that works because Engage is at the center of it. It's all the people who make the communication happen.